Welcome to another episode of Tolly on Technology. Our topic today is mobile messaging security. Clicking on links in text messages encompassing short message service and the new, more advanced multimedia message service and rich communication service could lead to a world of trouble. I'm Kevin Tolly, founder of the Tolly Group, and I am joined today by two experts from Cloudmark, a division of Proofpoint, who will help us get a better understanding of the scope of the problem and provide some insights on how to solve the problem. Dermot Harnett is Mobile Product Manager, and Tom Lee is Senior Data Engineer. Welcome, gentlemen. I've had the opportunity to learn quite a bit about the challenges and solutions for mobile messaging security in recent times, as I've worked with Cloudmark on a Tolly Group white paper that delves into the details of the matter. We'll let our viewers know where they can download that white paper at the end of our podcast, but for now, let's jump right in. For some reason, many people seem to think of text messages as harmless, but that isn't true, is it? In fact, attacks such as phishing have become so common via SMS and other mobile messaging options that the industry even invented a term for this called smishing. Dermot, help orient our viewers as to what is going on with respect to hackers and various threat actors using SMS as an attack channel. What kind of exposure is there?
Thanks again, Kevin, for providing this opportunity to talk with you today. Well, as you know what, as threats in messaging platforms such as email have become ubiquitous, over the last few years, we've seen a dramatic increase in mobile messaging abuse, really as mobile devices have become an integral part of the way that we communicate. The thing that we must remember with the mobile channel is that it continues to be a highly trusted channel, with some surveys actually suggesting that mobile messages have a 98% open rate. Mobile subscribers are 8 times more likely to click on a URL when they receive it in a mobile message compared to email. And 90% of mobile messages are read within 3 minutes or less. So as more and more activities, as we do more and more of these activities, such as financial activities on our mobile devices, attackers are following. Because ultimately, mobile attackers are out there to make money, right? And steal personal information. But ultimately, their goal is financially motivated. And since January 2020, we've seen global smishing reports increase quite dramatically. And while there has been some slowdown in recent months, we're expecting to see smishing continue to increase this quarter and indeed next year as well. Another thing to consider, Kevin, is that the growth in mobile malware. Attackers are increasingly using malware to steal credentials and other personal information. And we've seen in 2021 multiple mobile malware variants, such as the ones here, FluBot, T-Bot, TangleBot, and a variant seen in Asia as well. And what's interesting about these, especially as we track some of them like FluBot, is that while the software and implementations vary, there's quite a lot of similarities, as you can see here, between some of the mobile attacks. And one of the things that we see is that the attacks are going from one country to another. So they're popping up across many different regions. And we saw this particularly with FluBot. Does that make sense to you, Kevin?
Yep. And this is interesting. So a couple of things. I mean, I've seen a lot of the same stats that you've seen about how, for whatever reason, something that pops up on your phone is more trusted. There's no reason it should be, but somehow it is, right? That's scary. Tell me, and maybe this, I don't know if this is a question really for you, Dermot, or for Tom, but I think generically of malware and malware showing up either on my email or on my phone, but is there anything kind of unique about mobile malware? Are these special types of attacks that somehow exploit things different with mobile platforms? Or is it just regular malware that shows up on your phone?
Well, I think one of the interesting things about mobile malware is the vector, particularly if we take FluBot, for example, the vector was a link in a mobile message that was a link to download an app. So an app that you would, lots of people, would be familiar with downloading apps on their mobile devices. So it was, well, like some of the vectors for distributing the malware were kind of similar. Like Fluebot was a worm-like malware.
Okay.
But also it's the way that it was using it to try and download an app onto your device. So it was, the Fluebot one was particularly mobile centric.
So a bit of social engineering as well, because it was what someone was expecting they might find on a mobile device as opposed to.
Oh yeah, I mean, one of the things, like, over in recent times, I think we're all very familiar with receiving a lot of, packages from various companies. Yeah. And Fluebot started out like that. It looked like, saying your package had arrived and there was a link in it. So it was definitely using social engineering, something that we're all very familiar with.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so let's move to customers. So who is this impacting? So in your experience, what are their primary challenges? What kind of solutions are they looking for?
Let's talk about who's actually impacted and consider the risks associated with mobile abuse. For smishing, one of the things to consider with smishing, and you brought it up earlier, was that it has such an impact because lots of people don't actually know what smishing is. There's some stats out there that say 69% of people globally don't even know what smishing means. So that's a huge problem and a huge risk overall. And, mobile attacks, they're also numerous and they're increasing as well. So that presents a pretty significant risk and challenge for customers. But that being said, mobile attacks are having an impact on mobile network operators, consumers, and subscribers, the end users. It's having an impact on them, and it's having an impact on enterprises and brands as well. And if we think about these three groups and the mobile abuse that they're facing, let's consider, for example, mobile network operator, the impact on them. They can have a direct impact on their operations and customer support teams because some of these mobile attacks are quite sophisticated, and they can be, the size of them, the number of attacks that are, the number of messages that are observed in some of these attacks can be quite significant as well. But also, if we move on to consumers, the attack for them, or the challenge for them, really can be personal and it can be financial as well. You can have your personal information stolen, and you can also have some money lost too, which I think in today's environment could be pretty significant for some of our consumers and subscribers, I think. And then, for enterprises, there's kind of two areas here. One is, the brand of some of these people involved in smishing attacks. Some of these banks out there, global banks, the trust in some of the bank brands can be eroded, for example, or financial institution could be eroded slightly because of some of these smishing, where people don't actually trust some of the messages that are coming through. And also, for enterprises too, there's a growing risk of business mobile compromise, that the risk that some of information from an enterprise could be leaked through some of these smishing and mobile malware attacks. And then, from a solution perspective, our customers are looking for solutions that are quite varied, depending on where our customers live, really, realistically. So some of our customers will be interested in real-time abuse protection. Some of our customers customize deployment options or threat awareness and have some nice dashboards that show some of the threats that we're seeing today. And other of our customers are interested in abuse reporting platforms. And then some of our mobile network operators are really interested in messaging stream analysis and control.
All right, so Cloudmark knows so much about this because as a company, you've been at it for some 2 decades now. So I'd like to turn to Tom now to get a quick look at the Cloudmark solution. I know that it's tough to summarize in just a few minutes, but let's have a go at it. Tom, all yours.
Hello, Kevin. Yes, thank you. So the Cloudmark platform is essentially carrier grade, which means that it tends to live within the operator backbones, protecting messaging traffic from entering those networks. We are able to address a whole variety of operator protocols in order to be able to plug in and into any different messaging streams. We actually have data and visibility on a global basis because of our integrations that we currently have. And we have a variety of different types of approach to identifying proactively and reactively attacks, threats, different types of messaging, and all sort of shades of how fraudulent they are, from like innocent bulk messaging, which is a legitimate messages, but just being sent in a bad way, to outright phishing, smishing, and malware attacks, as we've been mentioning beforehand. So we have a variety of different custom-made tools that we have patented in order to address that. We have machine learning environments, and we use artificial intelligence in order to analyze message streams programmatically in order to be able to winnow the bad from the mass of the good. After that, we are actually implemented in a variety of different ways, which adapt to individual customer needs and customer sizes and specific requirements. So we typically prefer cloud performance, cloud installation, really running it as a software as a service mode. However, there's absolutely no problems for us to run those clouds locally on-prem at individual customers.
Hybrid approach, if that's what somebody wants.
Precisely, or to do a mix of both, really to match the best of remote control and automatic updates with fine-grained per customer privacy policies, for example, security obligations per each customer. So all of this means that we have a very cutting-edge piece of technology, which is really running on live traffic worldwide right this instant and all time. However, it's not just fire and forget. We are constantly monitoring and tweaking and updating as new challenges and threats come in, and we're able, therefore, to support this round the clock, follow the sun, on behalf of our customers, in order to ensure really optimal service for them.
And global is key. I mean, you talked about that as you were going through a long list of things, but as Dermot pointed out on his slides, a lot of these threats seem to also follow the sun, right? Or in a sense, they work their way around the globe. So if a company did not have global visibility, they might not see this thing coming, whereas you're all over the planet, so you'll see it coming and you can detect it in one place, and before it manages to propagate out to other places, you've basically got it identified and blocked.
Absolutely, Kevin. Yeah, it's very true. So we have a lot of visibility all around the world. We see a lot of challenges, frequently on a per language basis. So you'll have, an attack in the United Kingdom, followed up by an attack in Australia, ending up an attack in North America. Similarly, you'll see similar attacks that are tried out, for example, in Russia, like certain attack techniques. And then those same attack techniques are then applied, for example, again, in North America or in APAC. So it's very, very important to have that global visibility in order to be able to understand, also to be, language and character set agnostic is absolutely key in order to identify how threats attempt to sail under the radar and not be detected.
So yeah, so you're mentioning already some of the best practices. Any other best practices that Cloudmark implements to help secure customer traffic that they should be aware of?
Absolutely. We work closely with all of our customers, and also frequently the customers of our customers, in order to ensure good deliverability and sending throughput. We have a huge customer footprint. Obviously, I've mentioned MNOs, but also we are increasingly engaged with senders in order to ensure that they're able to send. And you talked about best practices. We have a whole slew of recommendations on how to make sure that the legitimate messages are going through, and also to avoid problems with false positives, that sort of thing. And increasingly, as mobile is being seen as like an engaged ecosystem, we are definitely engaging with high-risk actors who are concerned about the use and abuse of their brands in the mobile environment. So, for example, big banks or airlines or whomever has reason to send legitimate SMSs, which are often hijacked for nefarious purposes, we get involved into that. So yeah, we are predominantly engaged in monitoring the SMS or other types of messaging, RCS, etc., MMS, email, the SMS flow. We're trying to identify the bad pieces of either attacks or individual messages. We are then alerting, warning, letting the MNOs know, the senders know, the enterprises themselves, so that they're aware that these attacks are ongoing. And we're then aiming to attempt to block those before it can harm the end consumers.
And even right down to your last one, your SRS, that if something gets through and the user interprets it to be spam or smishing or something bad, they can feed that back into your system for further evaluation, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we rely on enabling operators to have the visibility on knowing what their customers are receiving when they're not necessarily aware themselves. So we have strong visibility on this, and this means that we're sharing the information, the operators are aware of it, and they can react, and they appreciate how serious the impact can be on their end subscribers.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Okay, Tom, thanks. So let me bring it back to Dermot now. We've covered a lot of material in a short time. What do you think are the 2 or 3 most important takeaways for our viewers today? Dermot?
I would say, yeah, Kevin, I would say there's probably 3 takeaways. The first thing is that, it's clear mobile abuse and mobile attacks, they're becoming more sophisticated and more frequent. So it's something for everyone to be aware of. The second thing is that, as Tom has just outlined here, Cloudmark offers a flexible and comprehensive solution that delivers threat protection, monetization analysis and control. And this provides, a lot of protection for subscribers, MNOs and enterprises. And finally, the last point I would make is that, as you mentioned, Kevin, Cloudmark has been an innovator in the mobile messaging market for some time and has a history as part of the Proofpoint family now of successfully delivering solutions to protect our customers. So they're really the 3 key takeaways I would share with you today.
Great, thanks. So we mentioned our Tolly Group Cloudmark white paper earlier. It is called Cloud Platform for Mobile, Understanding Cloudmark's Carrier Grade Mobile Messaging Security Capability. It's Tolly report number 221135. This report is available from both the Cloudmark and Tolly websites. So Dermot and Tom, thanks for your insights today. Everyone, thanks for joining us, and check back soon for another episode of Tolly on Technology.